Ladies and gentlemen, once again, into the breach. We are at the office of the NBI for the case that I have against another gentleman from Cebu. And today's discussion is going to be about how to make a proper case against someone from start to trial. So the first thing I want you to understand is that your first step would be to go to a barangay captain if your complaint was about somebody local. From there, they would allow you or recommend that you go to the PNP. At that stage, either the PNP can take over the situation if it's a local problem, or if it's a problem with somebody else on another island, it's usually recommended to the NBI, at which point the NBI will start the investigation. Once the investigation starts, the NBI will ask you for certain pieces of information, and for you to put that information down on a statement, what is called a statement. Once the statement is made, you will sign the statement, but it's a little bit more involved than that. You will then agree that everything in the statement is true, and then you will put your thumbprint on that statement. That statement will go to the local authorities, it will go to Manila, it will go to the Bureau of Immigration, and it will also go to Interpol. At which point, before you put your thumbprint down on that document, they will tell you if your print comes back dirty, they will be the ones to arrest you as a side issue from your case. So once you have that established and you're willing to go that far, then you make your statement, and then they will review it, and then they will ask you for evidence to back up the statement. And whatever evidence you have, if it's pictures, if it's video, in my case it's video, then they will review what you give them as evidence. Then your thumbprint will be back within a few days, but they will review your evidence, and if they find that your evidence is not strong enough to move forward to the prosecutor's office, they will, in fact, at that point, stop the case and say that you don't have strong enough evidence, but if you bring back more evidence or other evidence, we will review that. So there you have an option to bring back further evidence or something that substantiates your claims, because at this point it's only a claim. So once you bring back enough evidence for them to substantiate your claims, the easiest thing, of course, is to have it in video format and voice recorded so that it makes it clear as day. Once that happens, you will go to the prosecutor's office in the district and or the island that you filed the case on. So in my case, it's Bohol. So as the plaintiff, I file it in Bohol, and the defendant will have to come to Bohol. Now that part of the process has already been done, but the defendant was unable to come to Bohol, which is okay, it's perfectly legal. And in fact, at that point, the law allows for the defendant to send his or her lawyer to Bohol on his behalf, which is what happened. Now, I can't talk about the case, but I can tell you that's what happened. So I'm going to walk over to this placard over here, and I'm going to show you how it works as far as a case. Amiga, may I just say bugamay? Okay, salamat. Okay. The first thing that you're going to do is you're going to go make out the complaint. Then you're going to make a personal appearance with the complaint and the required party. But in the case that the required party is on another island. It's just a little different, the schedule. Then you fill out and submit the complaint form with the letter and your attachments of your documentation. Then they have an initial assessment by the NBI or the PNP. And we went left. We went to this process, the case filing, case build-up, the documentation, the case filing of the documentation, and the preliminary investigation. This is not part of, an arrest warrant is not part of our case. The first thing that's going to happen is the case is going to go, thank you, salamat. The first thing that is going to happen is the case is going to go, is going to go to the prosecutor, which is where we went. The defendant's lawyer requested further or evidence of the file, the charges that were filed. And then today I am here bringing that evidence to provide for the lawyer of the defendant. Now the lawyer of the defendant will look through the evidence and see if in fact the evidence concurs with the charges. And I don't know what they do at that point. I believe my evidence is strong. She may believe it is not strong. That is a matter to be determined by the lawyer herself. I cannot make decisions for another person. I just make my own decisions, and I made a decision to go forward with this case knowing full well that it was going to be a long, enduring process. And at this point, today is January 10th. Today is my 6th-year anniversary that I landed in Cebu, but not my first full day in the Philippines. This is 6 years tomorrow. And I knew this was going to be a long, arduous process, and it will be. It could take another year. It could take another year and a half. I don't know. Depends on how long the defendant decides to postpone it. You know, it could be an issue of weather. It could be an issue of the ferries not running on certain days, because that happens all the time. It's an amazing, it's an amazing process that I'm going through. But I just wanted to share that with you. Now, I can't, as I said, can't talk about the case itself, but I can tell you that the case is in progress. And we are not the unhappy camper. In fact, we're the very happy camper. We have been singing for the last 3 days since I went to the prosecutor's office. So thanks very much for watching. My Fazio in the Philippines, baby. I'm being Permy.